Exactly. Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? Welcome and to Monday night, and that is the physicist and philosopher.
Yes.
I am the philosopher, and Dr. Claudia Albers is our physicist. And tonight we are joined with Mr. Scott Cione of Planet X News. Welcome,
What
Scott.
can I be? I have to be something. Since you're the philosopher and Dr. Albers is the physicist, I have to be something.
Let's see. I'm thinking we could say the protagonist.
The antagonist?
No, the protagonist.
Because I do like to antagonize.
Oh, well, we all get accused of that. It's like, ay, ay, ay. So we were just talking. Um, y'all are about to get hit with some cold weather. I mean, this is type of weather that even for the Northerners, this is going to get life-threatening cold.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm an avid weather watcher. And I've been warning people. Well, I started warning people about this back in the fall. And the weather patterns. What I was watching was the jet stream. I keep preaching to everyone about what is happening in the Arctic, what's been happening up there. And now more and more scientists, climatologists, they're kind of now coming out and saying, yes, we have a very big problem up there. And what people don't understand is when all of that ice disappears in the Arctic, that upsets the jet stream. And if you just watch the weather patterns and you watch the jet stream, we have that massive trough that is coming down and now reaching northern Mexico. Now, today it was 45 degrees here in Pittsburgh, but in about 24 to 48 hours, that trough is going to roll through and it is going to bring that sub-zero Arctic air right over top of us. I was looking at it. It's going to be short-lived, but it's enough to do serious damage.
You get caught in this exposed skin, it's not going to be pretty. It is.
Yeah, it's a very, very deadly situation. I've been keeping in touch with a few people out in the Midwest, and they say the situation's very, very critical. I have a few friends of mine that live in the northern part of Minnesota. Like we say in Italian, forget about it, man. That's a section of the United States that you definitely don't want to be in.
And I'm trying to pull this up, and here is the problem. I mean, there it is right there. It's coming right for you guys. And look at that warm weather that right where you were talking about, Scott. You guys right here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, I've been studying this jet stream pattern. I look at it at least twice a day, and I gather the data on it. And like I said, I'm an avid weather watcher. But, these situations are not going to go away for the rest of your life. As you're living and breathing right now, these situations are not going to go away. They're going to continue to progressively get worse. Now, people think that this winter is bad. Wait till we get into the spring, because the same weather patterns that you're seeing now are going to stretch all the way into the late spring. So gradually, as time goes on, all of our seasons are basically going to kind of reverse, according to the months that you've named, spring and summer. They're all going to change, and they're going to change very, very rapidly. What I'm seeing now definitely has me very, very alarmed for the late spring and throughout the summer of 2019. It is going to be we're going to see massive amounts of flooding. We're also going to see a very, very active hurricane season, and we're going to see hurricanes in different parts of the ocean, the Atlantic and the Pacific, that we've never seen before. I'm telling you, just watch and you will see. And just like I said a few weeks ago, watch what's going to happen in the Southern Hemisphere. Watch what happens to Australia once again. These massive heat waves, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, melting roads, killing animals. It's a very, very tragic situation, and people really, really need to, stay on guard, keep up with the information, and listen to your truth channels. That's it.
Well, now speaking about that, YouTube put out the announcement on Friday that they're now beginning to sanction certain content.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have no doubt that the Planet X will be the next one that they're going to be coming for.
Yeah, we were just doing some experimenting on that this morning, Dr. Albers and I, and we just punched in Planet X in Google. Now, before, all of our videos would show up, our books, website, Facebook page, all of that information would show up instantaneously. Mm-hmm. Now, whenever you type in Planet X, the first article that comes up is Caltech, Planet 9, and some other crap.
Mike Brown and his group out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Albers' name used to be right up there within the top 10. Same thing with our YouTube channels. But over the course of the last year, they have really steadily been jamming our channels. We have 79,000 subscribers, over 20 million views in 3 years, but now it's all over and done with. And we're going to be working more and more specifically with our website. We've been doing we did some experimenting the last couple of days, and we're going to be getting some software to embed our own videos into our website. It's rather expensive, but the technology is there for, do-it-yourselfers. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be held hostage to social media, mega giants. It's just not going to happen. And we're going to be able to upload Dr. Albers' reports along with the video. So you'll be able to watch the video and actually read the report, and we're not going to be held hostage to this. There's just no way.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. I mean, it's censorship, and it makes me, as a philosopher, as I look at this, that this is a dystopian move of this is seriously exactly what Orwell was writing about.
Absolutely.
The repression.
Picture perfect.
Yeah. I was having a discussion with another professor, and him and I were conversing by email, and he lives in Germany, and right now they're under huge repression of speech. And it's becoming, and he said, when you begin to see the oppression start, he said, the first ones they always go after are the free thinkers and the intellectuals. That's the ones that they aim to shut down. So I guess we're going to be on the list, Claudia. Scott, you're on the list.
Oh
yeah. Look. I mean, Dr. Albers and I, we've created the list.
You live on the list.
I read the press release that YouTube put out, and they actually went out there and named flat earthers.
Oh yeah, the flat earthers are gone. They're history, baby.
Look, I have nothing against the flat earthers. Some of the information they put out is quite intriguing.
It is intriguing,
but I've been up in space. I've been up in the atmosphere. The earth is round, Yeah,
I mean, it's impossible for the earth to be anything but spherical. But I actually think that they use things like this that are obviously completely wrong to get people mixed up. So now we who are telling the world the truth about what's really going on in the solar system are mixed up with people who promote flat Earth, which is absolutely unscientific, absolutely impossible to be true. But now, by targeting both, no one can say, oh, they're just targeting the truth people. Because obviously, one of the people they're targeting, one of the groups, is clearly not telling the truth. So
Yes.
it just mixes everything up.
Yeah, they got everybody
That's the
mixed
purpose of it.
Well, yeah, and most of
started the whole thing with flat Earth anyway. It was probably some kind of operation, disinformation. That's what
it's
is.
called Operation Flat Earth.
It worked well. I mean, we took the bait, and that's but Claudia, you bring out a good point, because science. In fact, you and I talked about this 2 weeks ago on our show. We were talking about what's problem in that your paper that you wrote about physics today.
Yeah.
That physics is basically dead. We're not moving into what we would call new areas. They're writing about that now. They're writing it in Oxford. They're writing about it in Harvard, Cornell. The fact is, physics is in a box. So
yeah, it's not advancing because no true advancement is allowed, because people are only allowed to do research in areas where the truth will not come out. So you're only allowed to progress in a direction that does not lead you to the truth about how the universe really works. So how can it progress that way? And it's not just with physics, it's with other areas like history, archaeology, all these areas.
Anthropology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's not leave out medicine.
Medicine is definitely totally wrong. It's always gone in the wrong direction.
That was the other target in the YouTube press release. If you looked at it very closely, it was people online doing videos about alternative medicine. You don't want to get in the pocket of big pharma.
Yeah. So I guess the days of seeing holistic videos on how-tos are going to be sanctioned and censored.
Yeah, I think
there's no doubt.
This was the purpose of the internet in the first place. This is why they got us to stop reading newspapers, because they couldn't really control what was placed in the newspapers, but they can control the internet. Who gets to see what? Or they cannot control everybody, but they can control most people. You cannot get the numbers. I mean, most people will maybe thousands, but they don't even know that it exists because it's been blocked.
Yeah, and the gremlins are playing with us here. Did you see that, Scott?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Dr. Albers was shape-shifting.
I was?
It was very interesting. The gremlins have been out, man. I mean, so I think they got these Autobots now that, are out there. I'm finding virtually every one of my videos. I do a noonday show, and every one of them get flagged. Every one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're flagging me?
No. I've had one last week was demonetized. They wrote that after multiple reviews, manual reviews, that they found my content to be, and I quote, to be, wait a minute, I want to get the right wording here. To be too intense for the general audience at large.
What were you talking about?
Philosophy and the religion.
Oh, dear God.
And I'm going, wait a minute. This is the same stuff that you would find in any college or university in their class in talking about either comparative studies of religion or even philosophies of past cultures and history.
Oh my goodness. They are so afraid of the truth. They don't even allow you to think about those subjects.
Yeah,
exactly.
they're doing the same thing on Facebook. You know, I run the new March for America media company, and we've been doing fantastic. Our website has just literally taken off right before Christmas. We're now getting anywhere between 500 and 6,000 hits a day. Excellent. On our news website. We're actually breaking stories before they're hitting mainstream media on television, on the big news media websites. We're also digging into some investigative matters that have, they've sparked a few fires within Facebook. But just today, I wrote an article about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her bid to run for presidency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all my article was about was her bid for the presidency and how in her speech she was putting down our current president, Donald Trump. Can I share my screen with you for just 1 second? I want to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find this quite amusing. And
well, if you got the word Trump, that's like painting a laser on you. You got a predator drone going, Trump, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, let me just show you this here real quick. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, this was all that I shared to my Facebook page from our website. If you look down at the bottom of it, you'll see it says from Facebook, this post goes against our community standards, so no one else can see it. Now, they also sent me another notice that was identical to this one, accusing me of spam. If you take a look at my post, what community standard did I go against?
I mean, I'm reading here. So where is the problem here?
Like the red part, I put that in there.
Yeah, no, I'm reading, but I don't understand and that's the problem here. We got this ambiguity of what community standards are. I don't know what they are. I read the definition, and you need to have a lawyer to sit there and decipher it.
Yeah, it's absolutely
and even ridiculous. If he does, it will still change depending on what they think. In other words, it's subjective.
Boy, isn't it? I mean, you're going, all right, so what do I do now?
They just don't like you. I mean, that's why.
Well, they want to control. They want to control what people are seeing out there. Now, listen, I'm telling you right now, the world, the modern world is in big trouble. I mean, Wayne, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. You probably see it on a day-to-day basis.
Crazy.
The media is out of control. The United States government, absolutely out of control. So are other world governments, especially over in Europe. There is a big push to shut down the freedom of speech. As you mentioned, several European countries, in Germany, hey, man, you could end up in jail. In Sweden, you say the wrong thing to the wrong people, you end up in jail.
There have been my videos
in Belgium. I mean, we see what's happening in France. Oh, my goodness.
Australia.
And guess what? It's coming right to our backyard. It's already.
So we're living in Nazi Germany once again.
Ooh, don't use that word.
Yeah, they like go, oh, no, they're using the N word, and you're going, wait a minute. But the repression of free thought it's becoming global. And I cannot understand the conundrum here, because what we have is definitely the antithesis of what we thought open communication, the internet, would bring. The exchange of ideas.
Mm.
Well, I guess there was a limit on the ideas, right, Dr. Albers?
Yeah, well, it was fine in the beginning. That's how they always get us. You see, television was lovely in the beginning. Movies were lovely in the beginning. Radio was lovely in the beginning. The internet was lovely in the beginning too. And then it got a bite. it bit us back.
And
you could take that all the way back to I don't know, I forget what year it was, but Orson Welles' War of the Worlds.
Yeah, 1980.
Hey man,
that's 1936, wasn't it? When something in the 30s.
You can easily see the influential power of media, radio, TV. Now we have the internet, software, making your own videos, social media. I think that they underestimated us humans.
So I'd like to ask you too, because I think this is a perfect question. I'd like to get your perspective. So, Scott, even by what you just said, and it's self-evident, this is happening global.
Yes.
And we're seeing certain nations that, are becoming much more repressive. And I wonder, because we can't be the only ones concerned. We can't be the only voice speaking this concern. Where is this leading to? Are we really looking at a total repression of thought?
I think that's where it's heading, Wayne. I keep thinking of that movie 1984 and how even people's thoughts, it was like they were watched all the time, the expressions, everything they did. And that's where we're heading to. They are trying to read our minds, our thoughts, and to control what we think, what we do.
Let me sum it up to you. Let me sum it up for you in one big word. It's reprogramming.
Yeah.
And that's all that it is. They are reprogramming the younger generation. They are programming the people, the millennials, the snowflakes, whatever you want to call these people in this age bracket. It's filtering down into people that are in their late 30s, early 40s, and you see what they're doing here in the United States. They're literally making people believe that, the president of the United States is a racist. He's a really, really bad person. They're really pushing the politics and the religion, the whole transgender movement. This actress just came out the other day and said her newborn baby is genderless. I forget who's Goldie Hawn's daughter, I think it is. I forget her name. I don't pay too much attention to Bollywood.
But what's so weird when you say that, because I look at this, and so here's the other side of, this is the old expression, this is the pot calling the kettle black. When Obama was in office, and those who spoke in opposition of Obama and his policies and ideology were branded, much now to what they're trying to do. It's the problem with this is that it's so divisive. When is our species going to realize that we're like puppets?
Exactly. I was thinking about that today. Actually,
it's
the same thoughts. It's almost like the human species. And I was going back and I was thinking about ancient man. Let's go back all the way to caveman. The violent tendencies in the human species and racism. Racism you could trace back to the beginning of mankind. 2 different species, 3 different species of humans. They start to interact and they become, prehistoric racism.
Yeah, it's a clan.
Exactly. So, it's nothing that is new. This racism and the violent tendencies of the human species, it's in our DNA. It's almost like it's been programmed in our DNA to keep the human species at bay and at odds with each other forever.
One of the great new modern day philosophers, Friedman, was, and I got one of his book, Sapiens 2022. In his book, he postulates that one of the problems that we have is that as a species, that the one thing that will keep us divided, and he says whether it's our religion religion, our politics, our science, whatever, is that the fundamental problem is not met, and that is it's survival. Each one of us have that basic survival. We know we have to eat, we know we have to have shelter, and we know we have to have clothing. And that becomes a struggle.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't happen like that with animals.
I agree.
They do fight against each other, I suppose, but
I agree.
We worse than animals. We do worse things to each other than animals ever do to each other. So
it's that famous speech that Carl Sagan was saying, and I forget. I don't know if it was Dick Cavett or who it was, but he was saying, and he said the very same thing, Claudia, in the way Carl Sagan. He said, the problem is that man is so aggressive. Why would an intelligent species want to interact with such aggressiveness? And it's right, because we are.
Yeah.
If I had a flying saucer, I'd look at this and go, we ain't stopping down there. Them folks are nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually, I've heard that. I've heard that theory before. Speaking of the way extraterrestrials, the humanoid ones that kind of look like us, that could actually, the ones that could walk around and kind of assimilate. But it's been said that that's the way they look upon us, is a very dangerous and violent species. And I don't know, if you think about it, if we all just got along with each other and we all loved and cared about each other, then maybe the world would just be one big boring place.
No, I don't think so. I think it would be a much better place.
No, I'm being facetious, Dr. Albers.
Oh.
I contend that, what I think, and I have to say, I love this show tonight because we're really getting in much more of the philosophy, but where science is so well founded as well, is the fact that I think the thing that plagues our species, and this is the problem I have, folks, is that every species should be absolutely certain of their origin. It shouldn't be a mystery. It shouldn't be a conundrum. But for man, we don't know our origin. And as a result, we search for something that remains elusive.
True.
Yeah. And everything is being hidden from us. We live in a world where we only told lies, and somehow subconsciously we know that the powers that be have so little respect for us that they refuse to tell us anything about what's really going on, the truth. We're not told the truth. Our educational system is all lies. Our history is all lies. And we are told lies on the news every single day. And we can sense it.
Well, yeah. I think about Copernicus, Da Vinci. We look at the great minds of our past. They realized this, that, they couldn't tell the truth. And then,
or they'd be locked up or killed
or killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Claudia, I dare say a lot of what you postulate in your theories of how you see the universe would definitely be counter to the mainstream Vatican sanctioned approval of science.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, that's why I was ejected from academia, Wayne. And don't forget, because of the work that I have done, they will never allow me in again. Never.
Yeah. So as the trolls say, she is an out of work teacher who has serious mental health issues. Let me tell you something about Dr. Albers' mental health issues. If any one of these people would ever sit down and read this lady's thesis that she did, it's in a beautiful hardback form. I looked at it and it made me freaking dizzy. Okay. So for people who criticize somebody at Dr. Albers' level of education really needs their head examined.
Well, that's just it. Yeah.
Yeah. This woman can run circles around, I'd probably say 95% of the population on this planet.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to throw something in there. You mentioned the Vatican. I'm on a roll, baby.
Go for it.
There are two places on the face of this earth that I would love to visit before I take my last breath. One of them is the basement of the Smithsonian Institute, and the other is the basement of the Vatican.
Well, it'll take you weeks and weeks.
And I'll share something with everyone here. I'll just put it out there. So in a former life, I was back in the early 90s, I was in the video duplication industry, worked for the largest video duplicator in the nation. And one of my clients was the Smithsonian. Ooh. In fact, I knew the curator, and I had to meet quarterly with them. They would come to Knoxville, Tennessee, and every other meeting I had to go to Washington, D.C. So anyway, long story short, I did get to go down in the sub-basement. Yes, ma'am. And I'll tell you, I actually got to go through the museum, the National Art Gallery by myself. But here's the point. Do you know what I saw down there?
What?
I saw a very large skeleton.
Oh, yeah, the giants.
Oh, yeah, the giants.
That's what I want to see, baby.
That son of a bitch stood over 15 feet tall.
Oh, my goodness.
Not lying to you, man.
Well, listen, we have those mounds. Okay, you know the mounds.
Yeah, the Cahokia Mounds. Yeah.
Hey, we have those right here in my neck of the woods, right in my backyard.
That's true. Right. And in fact,
not too long ago, 2 years ago, they were widening a section of Interstate 70 going westbound towards West Virginia, the Panhandle. And right where one of the exits was, there was this big, gigantic mound. Oh, it had to be, probably about 50 feet high, maybe about 50 yards long. And it just looked pretty damn natural. 50 years ago, a man built a house on top of it. Yeah. And they later on turned it into a restaurant, and it was called King of the Hill. And PennDOT needed that mound because they wanted to remove it completely all the way to ground level to make the off-ramp of the intersection a lot safer. They started to excavate that mound. And lo and behold, 4 weeks after the excavation started, it mysteriously stopped dead in its tracks.
Did it now?
Yes, it did, my friend. And what they found, they never, ever released. All they said is that they found a very ancient burial ground inside of that mound, and they brought in archaeologists from all over. And do you know that for a year, one whole year, that mound and that construction stopped dead?
Wow.
Yeah, and why would they care about Indian burial grounds? They don't care about
no damn Indian burial ground. I can tell you that right now. It was no damn Indian burial.
Yeah, that's just the excuse. That's what I meant. That's the excuse, because they don't want us to know the truth about what went on.
By the way, as y'all were talking, Scott, so right next to y'all, I know it's in Pennsylvania, where the mounds are, they also found one that was a snake.
Yeah.
Hundreds of yards. So whoever these people were, they apparently, again, the serpent worship, giants. It's the only thing I can think of.
Mm.
They exist.
Well, yeah, like our whole section of this whole entire area of the United States was all, different Indian tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the local communities are named for them. Oneida, Aliquippa.
There you go. Yes.
So there were many, many ancient Indian tribes throughout all of this area. And, well, going back all the way, I believe, into the turn of the century, early 1900s, there were a lot of Indian burial grounds excavated, found, and even in the Laurel Mountains, where they have the Laurel Caverns, you can go down into the mountains, which is actually down and up, and you could go 3-4 miles deep into the caverns all the way. And it's, it's like a tourist attraction now. But once you get all the way deep inside of there, there are dinosaur footprints on the ceiling.
Were they doing a little Lyle Richie and Richie there going,
yeah, I mean, there is so much that we don't know, and I don't know why they cover it up. I find it to be quite interesting, going back all the way to biblical times, talking about giants, ancient man, the skeletons. I mean, let's be realistic. I think by now we can handle that there is extraterrestrial life. They work within the government,
I say that they're the Elohim.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I contend my theory. I put a video out today on it. My theory, based on the Sumerian tablets, the archaeological digs in Göbekli Tepe, that as we begin to look at this, I believe that the B'nai Elohim are an alien race. I think they're a species. They're an immortal species. They don't die.
I agree.
I think the Mayan were somewhat of it, like, an alien species also. If you've ever listened to David Wilcock and Corey Good 2 years ago, Corey disclosed meeting with human type aliens, if you want to call them that. And
you want to hear my theory?
Were of the Mayan race. I mean, they looked exactly like them.
Yeah.
And that is because I have always wondered about everything: animals, insects, fish, aquatic life, and the different nationalities of people. So if we all come from one little strand of DNA and we were all born in some sloppy soup in a swamp, how are there Oriental people? How are there African-American people? How are there white Caucasian people? How are there all of these different species of humans? We didn't just all come from some sloppy little soup. And we sure as hell didn't evolve from a chimpanzee.
I contend that the Adama, that was the original model. I don't think they ever stopped. I have this theory that I've been working on for a while, Claudia, as well. Let you in on this, that I contend in 1947 in New Mexico, when the first A-bomb was exploded, that man inadvertently, did not know this, began to fracture a seal that I think that is in the stories of like I said, the B'nai Elohim, the fallen angels that were put into a container. I contend that the over 2,000 nuclear and hydrogen explosions that we've done in our Earth has fractured that seal. I think it was light that broke the seal. And it's my contention that the Elohim are here today. I contend that Silicon Valley is, in fact, been infiltrated and was started by the Elohim.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's definitely a possibility, Wayne.
Yeah, because that's a lot of brain power. Those are people that are ascended, knowledge-wise, if you really want to.
I think they got guided. I think the Elohim are involved in the technologies, because everything I see in the technologies today are trapping us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said this today on my show. A free man does not need a savior. A slave seeks a savior.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely slaves on this planet. We don't have freedom. Life is very painful. There's economic hardship. And you know, the surprising thing, Wayne, is that these cities that I'm fascinated with, these alien cities, I just discovered that the buildings that we see on them cannot have been built after they came into the atmosphere. They were actually built on the planets before they broke up. Because if you build on these things with materials from the earth, they would get too heavy and quickly come down. So these buildings were actually on the planets before they broke up. And then you realize how close to Earth buildings they are, that they look just like Earth buildings. What does that tell us? They have technology very similar to ours. And, you know, I believe that what happened was that these were the planets that were ruled by Lucifer and his angels. And he rebelled. The Bible tells us about it in Isaiah 14. What happened, how he said he wanted to raise his throne above the stars of God. He wanted to invade heaven. He tells us what happened. And that God then went and destroyed all these star systems he was ruler over. And then he came to Earth and took over our planet. That's why we have the same technology. We have the same buildings. But let me tell you something, that no human being who has power over their own civilization would choose to live in those buildings. It's only when you have limited economic resources that you would live in those buildings. And that means even the economy was similar to ours.
Well, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think about if we, in fact, let loose these Elohim that were imprisoned for whatever reason, they're brilliant minds. They're above ours. And, you know, I got a sense that we didn't know this. And because everything that you look at, the acceleration of everything, of man's inventions, man's progress, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of freedom attached to all this technology. Are you?
No, it's the opposite. You're absolutely correct. It's enslavement.
Yeah, Dr. Albers is dead on, because if you really want to get down to it, it's everything around you, everything you do, everything you own. It all resorts right back to population control of this planet. So you wouldn't need medicine, okay, because you would be able to literally heal yourself.
Exactly. And you just hit one of the big cardinal ones, because now you're going against big pharma. All right.
Yeah,
so now,
exactly. So, you know, everything that's given to us, technology, even the food that we eat, we can delve into that. So yeah, that they didn't name it the slave planet for nothing. I think this planet, this rock that we live on, has been probably a massive experiment, a lab for billions of years. And right now, we as this human species that inhabit this planet, I think we may just be another one of these experiments that has progressed rapidly with the help from up above.
I've been told that we have been, if you look at the scriptures and you know how you want to take a look at this, it never said that the creator stopped creating a man. It just simply said he created an Adama. Gives no indication that, and I think that that's the problem. We think that we're so special. We may not be anything special at all. It's just a thought. Well, Scott, I know you came on, you had some UFO pictures, and I want to see them, but, you know, I want to say something. I just finished this book called The Gods of Eden. Highly recommend it. My wife looked at me and she said, this has got to be a good book. I mean, it's almost 400 plus pages. I finished it in a day and a half.
Oh,
wow.
It just grabs you. It gets into the whole thing of the star children, the Benai Elohim, the Vatican, what anthropologists and archaeologists have discovered in Zimbabwe, Africa. And the thing is that, yes, the UFOs are here. Yes, the ETs are here. Yes, the other species. I contend the Elohim are just a species, and that they are fighting a war because they took over our quadrant of space almost 500,000 years ago. And I contend as well that what we see today is that the fact that the Elohim have given our leaders technology. And here's the thing, you know what I really think the big deal is? Free energy.
oh yeah. Don't even say that, man.
I know it. That's what I was told.
Yeah, that will get you shut down there real quick. I mean, that goes right there with the big pharma.
Yeah, it is. Like we're doing the cardinal sins here. Claudia, you're not involved in this. It's just Scott and I.
Yeah, the thing is, I think they are planning it. All this that's going on is also a lot of deception that's going on, and what they want to do is bring about the New World Order, which will be a fake millennium. In other words, they're going to pretend now that they are our saviors, that they are the real God, and they've come back, and now we're going to have a beautiful life. They're going to give us pure medicines, free energy. Just one thing, you have to take a little chip.
Well, that's already happening, sweetheart.
Yeah, but that's going to happen a lot more. They're going to pretend they're going to give us paradise.
Oh, yeah.
They want full control.
That, and you know, I always get the sirens when I think about that. Come on, baby, come on. So Scott, what do you got to show us here? I mean, we this has been fun, by the way. I have really enjoyed this discussion. This is cool. So, what do you got for us?
Well, you know, back in the late fall, I was doing some video recording outside with you know, a very expensive, it was about $3,000 4K video camera, and I was just actually videotaping some clouds and part of the sun and some chemtrails, and then you know I recorded several 2 days in a row. Well, they have to be small spacecraft zipping through the sky. Dr. Albers examined the footage, and they seem to be moving at close to 40,000 miles per hour. I had to slow it down and the whole 9 yards, but I've already shown all of that video footage. I don't know if you saw it, but I just happened to be reviewing it today, and she must have thought I had some new UFO footage. But I've been catching UFOs all my life. I had my own UFO experience when I was 16 with my grandfather, a Pennsylvania state trooper, 6 other people, and, you know, very well documented. But what I did want to show you is, you know, you mentioned a past life. And I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years. I had my own paranormal investigative team here in Pittsburgh. And Dr. Albers doesn't like to talk about this. look at the look on her face right now. Anyways, just recently in the news, an article came out about a lady who lost her son to a drug overdose. I think he was about 23 years old. And she had video cameras in her house. Now, a lot of people have these. We have them in our home, inside and out. And just by chance, she was reviewing some of the in-home video camera footage, and she saw her son's spirit in the kitchen. Now, her son died of a drug overdose the year before, and he was always in and out of the kitchen, always in and out of the kitchen.
Most teenagers are.
Yeah. And when she was looking over this video footage, she almost had a heart attack herself when she saw this image. And I have the image, and I've been in contact with the lady, but I want to show it to all of you guys. I mean, it was all over the news. Maybe some people saw it. Maybe some people didn't. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. This is the actual photograph. There's her kitchen. There's her son's apparition. Now, her son had a very, very thin beard. He had dark brown hair. And this that he's wearing, here's his blue jeans. But this seems to be the hospital gown that they put on him when he was rushed to the hospital. You can see the cupboard door is open. And she said, you know, she always complained that he would go in the cupboards, get something, and leave the cupboard door open. Okay. So that is the image. And I've always believed in a spiritual life. I've done a tremendous amount of research into spirits. I don't like to call them ghosts. I've done some very, very extensive work, and I've had my own experiences that have changed me forever. I truly believe that our souls and our spirits are recycled. And I know for a fact that I've been here on this earth before. I know that I've been here at least 5 times. And I fully remember all of my last past life. I remember all of it from childhood all the way through. And that lifetime goes back into the 1930s. But I'm going to show you the next. I enhanced the photograph a little bit. This is a negative. So you could actually see the whole head, the hair. This is a negative. You could see the hospital gown. But then I worked with the photograph even more, clearing it up and digitizing it. And that you could see the line of the jaw right there. You could see the nose, the hairline, piece of the ear. I just think that it was an absolutely incredible photograph. One of the best photographs of a spirit or an apparition that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I cannot disagree with you. It really gets into the whole aspect of, you know, as the Matrix said, I'll never forget what Morpheus says. We all have what we call an inner self image. And it's interesting that the young man is still wearing the hospital gown. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just,
you know, I had
it also adds to my theory that there's no one waiting for us. I think that each individual has to make that, you know, the Egyptians said crossing, you know, the river Sphinx.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had back in 2015, a young lady who, as a teenager, she was, I think 17 going on 18. She worked as a waitress at my restaurant. And I had graduated from high school with her mom. And she later left and moved to South Carolina. And she had 2 little boys. And she wanted to get out of this area. And, you know, she did. She had a grandmother that lived in South Carolina. And she was down there. She was working. She took her 2 little boys with her. And she was starting to do very well. She got into a relationship with this guy who was a Halifax County deputy sheriff, younger guy. And the next thing you know, she's dead. Found laying in the middle of a road near the airport. run over, tire tracks on her face.
Good Lord.
And her mom knew about me, and the whole entire situation became one big mystery. What happened to her? It was very sad, very sad. So I started to try to connect with Ashley, and I most certainly did. And it was absolutely horrifying because I could literally see exactly what happened to her, how she died. And I reported all of it to the Halifax County Sheriff's Department in South Carolina. And 48 hours later, that deputy sheriff was arrested for her murder. And I saw them both getting into an argument in a nightclub, her wanting to leave. She actually left. She went out to the parking lot. He followed her. He calmed her down. They got in a car, and he started speeding erratically and racing down this long stretch of road. Actually, the name of the road is called Airport Drive. And he was hitting her. He was backhanding her in the face, beating her, and she tried to get out of the car, and he was going at a very high rate of speed, and he started to slow down. And when she did open the door, he decided, I'm just going to push her out. With his anger, he pushed her out. She fell out of the car, 60, 70 miles an hour, and he ran over her head. He stopped the car in the middle of the road, and he backed up over top of her on purpose, and he sped off. And he left her there, still alive, broken, but still alive. She passed away a few minutes later.
I bet, yeah, that she did.
And I made my connection with her when she was brought to the hospital. And she was literally sitting over in the corner of the emergency room cubicle. And she was crouched down with her back in the corner, her hands over her face, and crying.
Now, is she passed on? She's passed over? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She died within minutes of being run over. But, this was during my connection with her 48 hours after her death. She showed me everything. She showed me every bit of what happened. And she instantly worried about her two little boys who were being watched by her grandmother. She did not want to cross over because she had reason to stay. Her spirit had reason to stay here. That's one of the main reasons why, as we say, spirits don't cross over. They have this very significant tie to life here.
Well, that's the only one that they know of.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very true.
And,
well,
it was very, very shocking for me because this is not my first experience with this. For many, many years, I've helped. I can't even tell you how many people with past life regression. I've worked a lot with children over the years. But, this case with Ashley was traumatic for me because I knew her. She worked for me. I knew her mother for, 20 years or more. And we solved the case. And this
did she move on?
This guy, no. No, she would not. And I've had other cases like that. She's going to stay with her boys till probably some point in their life. It's very, 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 very sad. Very sad. I had another friend of mine who lost her 17-year-old son in a drowning accident here on the Monongahela River 3 years ago in the summer. He drowned. She asked me for my help also, Kathy. Known her for, all my life as a kid through high school. She came to me, same thing. She said, I know my boy's here. I hear him in my dreams telling me, Mom, I can't see anything. I'm cold. I'm wet. I don't know where I'm at. Can you hear me? And we did actually help him, move on and cross over. And it was a big relief for her and her husband because it traumatized her because he died a day before his 18th birthday.
Yeah.
So, people can make fun of the spirit world. Maybe we will never know until we take that step again.
Well, we all will.
Exactly. Eventually.
Well, it's what my channel is about. It helps people actually prepare that.
Yeah, and I do think that some of the highly intuitive nature that I have, I don't just think that I was born with it. I think some people in life are chosen for specifics by a higher power. You, me, Dr. Albers, millions and millions of other people.
Well, isn't all prayer telepathic?
Pretty much.
Claudia?
Yeah, I suppose
it is.
See, I told you.
Silently.
See, I
It's
told
exactly
you.
what it
I
is.
got into her head.
I always
But
tell
that's
people.
because God can read our thoughts.
Well, it's like every one of us are telepathic. So, well, folks, this has been exciting. It's been different. Claudia, I've enjoyed this. Scott, fascinating. Thank you, my friend. Claudia, do you want to say anything before we leave?
I have her thinking tremendously.
I'd like to say that, I like the truth, and we're living on a planet ruled by a spirit who is a master deceiver. And Jesus said he comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And he is the father of lies. So it's not surprising that he tries to deceive every single one of us in whatever area you can. Well, but we still have, even if we are deceived, we still have God who is on our side. We can still reach out to him. And he's the one who will save us from all the deception, I believe. And at the moment, our planet's getting worse. And I think it's a good time to do that, to reach out.
Well, I tell people all the time, I have a very diverse subscriber base of all different faiths, all different religions. And I try to be respectful for all beliefs. And I tell people, I said, my belief is that there is something even above the concept of God, and it's called the infinite being. But nevertheless, however we perceive that creative force, then I think that's the path an individual needs to go down. I don't think that, God is necessarily defined by religion or a construct. But that's what
religion, religion to me is a massive separator of the humankind.
Yeah,
religion creates racism. Now, I'm not talking about faith, so people don't get me wrong, but organized religion. It's like Team A against Team B and Team C. How could there be all of these gods and creators if we worship just one God? But, what I tell people, especially the people who try to upset my life and turn my life over, like the trolls and people that want to do harm to you, don't fear me whenever I'm alive. Fear me the most when I'm dead. Because every single night when you wake up, I'm going to be standing at the foot of your bed.
You ought to get some of the things. Listen, folks, I appreciate this. Claudia? Do you have, as we go out, I just want to thank you again. I had some of your papers up, but my wife is looking at me over here on the other end.
No, that's fine.
You know, listen, I want to tell you two, y'all keep warm. I mean, this is going to get, and I want to say this to the rest of the people that are going to be impacted by this brutal cold. Be careful about this. Little FYI on the do-it-yourself. Those of you who are going to be in the sub-zero, the 10, 20 below, remember your furnaces are designed to keep your house warm all the way down to 0. If it gets below that, normally your house furnace will not be able to handle this. So just get prepared.
Yeah, it's going to be a dangerous situation. Hopefully that jet stream pulls that across the United States pretty rapidly. What I'm seeing right now is it's looking like about maybe a 3 to 4 day stretch, but there's going to be a pinnacle where, whew, man,
that's going to be way colder.
Yeah, leave your water faucets, run a little bit. You don't want to end up.
Watch the animals. Bring them in. Gosh darn it! People think that dogs and cats can handle this. Claudia, next week we'll get into your papers.
Okay, that's fine.
She's like, why did you bring this guy on here? He just ruined the whole show.
No, it's been fascinating. I think the audience has loved it, and Terry says I'm in Indy, and Burr, it's already starting. Yeah, we got family that lives in Indiana as well, Terry. So y'all keep real good. You two, go ahead. Were you going to say something, Claudia? No. Well, I appreciate you two. You are the best. Go and subscribe to Dr. Albers' YouTube channel, Planet X Physicist, and then Scott's own over at Planet X News. Claudia, you have a book, right?
Yeah, I've just finished writing the 10th book, but Scott still has to edit it and put it up on Amazon. So
I'll leave it all on me. You see how
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I worked very hard for many hours on the book. Now the rest is up to him.
Yeah, I work 16 hours a day throughout the whole day, night. You know what? On Monday morning today, I started on some news articles at about 3:30 in the morning, and I didn't realize that it was actually Monday morning till I flipped on CNN or the Weather Channel, and they're talking about this Monday morning's bitter cold, and I'm like, what's this guy talking about? It's Sunday.
Time travel.
Yeah. Listen, take care, Wayne. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate it. Claudia, you're the best, my dear.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right. Y'all be good, and we will see everyone next week at the same time. Thank you for stopping by. All the moderators, go over there and see Brian over at Milky Way Weekly. He's going to show. We'll see y'all again next week. Thank you again, Scotty, and thank you, Claudia.
You got it, man.